Well, I'm joined now by the Prime Minister of Qatar, who is also the Foreign Minister, so thank you for joining us. This has been a difficult 36 hours for you and for the people of Qatar, so I very much appreciate your time. The Israeli attack on Qatar yesterday, local time, 3:40 in the afternoon, has been roundly condemned, variously described as treacherous, shameful, an action that risks further inflaming this region. You described Israel's action as state terrorism. What do you make of the timing of the attack?
Well, look, first of all, Becky, I think that if we look at the pattern of Netanyahu's action since the war started after October 7th, it's been like in a very systematic way trying to undermine any chance of stability, any chance of peace, and any chance of retrieving his own hostages. And these attempts, like we witnessed them in many occasions throughout the negotiations. Now, when we reached to a very critical moment that he claims that, according to his intelligence, which is something like very publicly known for everyone, that I was meeting with the leadership of Hamas. Hamas leadership are discussing, the negotiation team are discussing the proposal of President Trump during that time.
This was Monday, this week.
Actually, everything about the meeting is very well known for the Israelis and for the Americans. And this is nothing. It's not something that we are hiding, or as some marginal people are saying, harboring or whatever. We have to go back to the origins. Now, the attack that happened on Qatar territory, it's happened on our sovereignty. This is number one. Number two, Qatar is a mediator that's been mediating many conflicts. Qatar, when Hamas office was established, was done with coordination, request by the Americans, by the Israelis. They've been using it as a communication channel for them, for Gaza, for all those years. And I'm sorry here, any Israeli politician who today is trying to, to portray himself that he's away from this. This happened under Netanyahu's government, under Bennett government, under Lapid government, under Netanyahu's government again. Any agency says that no, they are not involved. It's not true. Mossad, Shabak, and the Ministry of Defense were involved in that. So there is no justification that this is considered harboring terrorism or whatever. These reckless claims. Now, does that justify for Netanyahu to come and attack a sovereign nation that hosts a negotiation that discussing a paper that's submitted by the United States? It's not only an undermining for our sovereignty and infringing our sovereignty. It's undermining for the entire negotiation. It's undermining for the U.S. effort. This is the country that's hosts the CENTCOM. How come we never thought that even there is like a very minimum level of manners and ethics? This has crossed it. I mean, honestly, I have no words to express how outraged we are from such an action.
If you could describe it in one word, what would that be?
This is state terror. That's what I call it.
Do you feel betrayed?
We are betrayed, yeah.
By the US?
No, I cannot say it's by the US. The US has expressed in many occasions their support to us. The US, the president, right after the attack, he spoke with His Highness the Emir, and he was very clear that this is unacceptable, and he's not agreeing with such a thing, and he was never informed about it. And the moment he was informed, he asked his official to inform us. Unfortunately, this information came too late, which is 10 minutes after the attack, as I stated yesterday. But when we were dealing with Israelis as parties, we were thinking that we are dealing with like regular parties. But Netanyahu, he has no limits.
Let me drill down a little bit on exactly what has happened here then, because I asked about the timing of this attack, because it came at a very crucial time. You personally met with the chief negotiator for Hamas on Monday evening. You pressed Khalil al-Khaya to get Hamas to respond positively to the latest US initiative for a ceasefire and hostage deal. And your team, as I understand it, then worked through the night on the phone with senior Israeli negotiators. And by Tuesday evening, you were expecting to get a response from Hamas. The Qatari negotiation team would have been together with the Hamas negotiation team, and you were expecting to get a response. Let me ask you, do you believe that response would have been an agreement had this attack not happened an hour and a half before that meeting was supposed to take place?
I cannot predict, but what I know that as the meeting that took place between me and the negotiation team from Hamas, I was very clear that if there is no positive response on this, I think we are going to run out of chances. And they were promising that this is not their own decision. They have to consult. They have their own structure, and it will take them time. And I told them that you have until Friday. Friday was the time set for me to meet with, together, myself, the Egyptian chief of intelligence, with the participation of Turkish intelligence, with Steve Witkoff, in order to give him a positive response, to find a way forward for this stalemate that we are in the negotiation. And by the way, at the same day, I was meeting one of the hostages' family that morning, the morning of the attack, carrying a message that the families, they are counting on this mediation. They have no other hope for that. And I think that what Netanyahu has done yesterday, he just killed any hope for those hostages.
Well, in the past hour, he has doubled down on his position. He has said, and I quote the Israeli Prime Minister here, "I say to Qatar and to all nations who harbour terrorists," his words, not mine, "you either expel them or bring them to justice, because if you don't, we will." Do you take that as a threat of further action here?
Well, we don't accept, first of all, such a threat coming from someone like Netanyahu, and he's calling about bring them to justice. He needs to be brought to justice. He's the one who's wanted to the ICC. That's number one. So I think that someone like him trying to lecture the world about the law, he's breaking every law. He broke every international law. He's starving people in Gaza. He's doing all these rogue actions in the entire region. What's next? What's next for him?
You've described him as a narcissist. What do you mean by that?
Well, I have no other explanation, because the act itself, I mean, the significance of this act, there is no human mind can just absorb it. You know, we were thinking that we are dealing with civilized people. That's the way we are dealing with others. And the action that he took, it's very, I cannot describe it, but it's a barbaric action.
Prime Minister, did you ever believe that hosting Hamas here, at the request of the United States over the years, and mediating talks here, at the request of the United States and others, was running a risk that Hamas would be targeted here, which would be an attack on Qatar soil?
Never, because have you ever heard about a neutral country that mediates conflicts being attacked because they are hosting the talks from one of the parties of the conflict? It's never happened. Do you expect such a thing happening from, a very simple example, Taliban office was here in Doha and the US were negotiating with them. Do we expect the US to attack Taliban office and this is justified? because of something happened in Afghanistan. This is never this is setting a precedent. Today, we are not seeing that what happened to Qatar is just happening to it's not about our sovereignty. It's about the international law. It's been put in question. Now we are at a detrimental moment. The international community, do they want a rule-based order? Or they want just a chaotic world? What we are seeing in our region right now, that's what this Prime Minister is leading us to a chaotic world. And there is nothing stopping him.
We know that 5 members, at least, of the Hamas delegation were killed in that residence, and a Qatari security official who was detailed to that residence was also killed. And as I understand it, there are others who are injured quite seriously, including other Qataris. The chief Hamas negotiator, Khalil al-Khaya, though, who was the target, or at least one of the targets of this attack, a man, again, that you met last Monday, is, as we understand it, still alive. Is that the case? And if so, what is his condition, sir?
Well, first of all, the first identified body who was killed in that attack was a Qatari officer, 22 years old, who was on duty to protect the facility as any other facilities that we have in Doha. That's number one. Number two, the identified bodies also of the other Palestinian killed, they are staffers who are working with them in Clark's work.
These are not high-level members of the Hamas delegation. Were they not there at the time?
So, I mean, until now, we are trying to identify if there is any other one missing. There are people who are injured. There are some of them. There are Qataris who are in a very dangerous situation. There is another Qatari officer. He's in a very critical position. We pray for him. But I don't know. I mean, going back that he is targeting, and this is justifying for him to target, if he has something with Hamas or Hamas leaders, justifying that targeting them in another sovereign nation, just compare it to any other act. How do you see the world react for other countries, other states who are conducting an operation in other nations' sovereignty to target someone that they wanted?
He has said you either expel them, Hamas, or bring them to justice, because if you don't, we will. And we've talked about whether you see that as a threat. Where are the Hamas members right now, and will you shut down their offices? It's a question that has to be asked. And because I want to ask you about the future of these talks at this point.
This is actually right now we are reassessing everything about the whole process. We are in a very detailed conversation with the United States government, and we need to understand what will be the way forward, because such a thing is unacceptable. And as I told you, it wasn't for us. It is attack on our sovereignty. It's attack on our nation, but it's an attack on the entire region. Today, the entire GCC region is at risk. GCC is one of the most important allies of the United States in the Middle East. The leaders around the world, everyone is calling us shocked with such an act. If Netanyahu believes that he will never be held accountable, and he continues such a statement by just throwing these statements and threatening countries, I don't know how the world want to deal with it. Our sovereignty, we will protect it, we will defend it to the end.
So the future of these talks at this point, not clear?
I mean, I don't have an answer for this, because really I see a meaningless talk. Right now what we are doing, And I think that been rethinking even about the entire process for the last few weeks, that Netanyahu was just wasting our time. He wasn't serious about anything.
What about Khalil al-Khaya and the Hamas delegation there? Were they also wasting your time?
Well, actually, look, to be very open, the position that we brought them from to the position that we got on August 18th in Egypt, in Cairo, was far from their initial position. That's number one. Number two, we have to go back to the last ceasefire. The last ceasefire that was brokered by Qatar, US, and Egypt, and guaranteed by those three mediators, supposed to hold the talks on day 16. Israel never showed up for these talks. They broke the ceasefire, and when they became interested in the talks, they came here, and they started to put proposals which was very obvious that Hamas will refuse. So, I will not be in between, the game of tactics of the Israelis or Hamas. I'm at the end of the day, I'm a mediator, I'm a facilitator, I'm trying to facilitate those, so I'm trying to bridge those gaps. And what we see, the progress in the position in August, I think that was significant progress. Unfortunately, Netanyahu declined again, and he never responded to that. And they came up with this new proposal, which also was far away from what was proposed in August, what was accepted in August. And they were asking us to pressure Hamas, and we were pressuring them. And we were progressing toward that direction.
I have to ask you again, Khalil al-Khaya, where is he and how is he?
Until now, there is no official declaration. Where is he? Do you expect from me to declare today?
Can I ask you, are you satisfied with Donald Trump's response? I mean, defense and diplomatic coordination have anchored these close US Qatari ties. You host thousands of US troops here. Washington has designated Qatar a major non-NATO ally. Are you satisfied with Washington's response?
I think this is what we heard from the president was a very strong message, reiterating his commitment to the partnership of Qatar, expressing that this is unacceptable to be attacked, and we highly appreciate that. And I think the actions should follow. And right now, I'm following up with all the U.S. officials in order to see what kind of actions can be taken.
As we speak, do you believe the US is any longer a reliable security guarantor for Qatar and indeed for the wider region? And you retain your right to respond, and I wonder what that response might look like and what it might look like from the wider region. For example, do you think the time has come for your Gulf neighbours to suspend the Abraham Accords? I mean, what is this response going to look like?
Well, there are. I think we have to distinguish between two things. There is a response that will be from Qatar, and Qatar, the first resort for a civilized nation, as any other civilized nation, is international law, and that's what we are going to resort to. And there is a response that will happen from the region. And this response is currently under consultation and discussion between the other partners in the region. We are working on Arab Islamic Summit that takes place in Doha in the next few days. And we will decide there what kind of actions will be taken.
Is it, though, time to suspend these Abraham Accords and not to look at an ambition, which is normalization with Israel going forward? Should there even be a two-state solution?
I will not comment on behalf of other countries. The president of UAE, Sheikh محمد, His Highness Sheikh محمد, was here this morning, and he expressed his unlimited support for Qatar, and he put everything in our disposal. And we are not going to ask anyone to take a decision on behalf of them. They are a sovereign nation, and they decide what to do and what not. There is a collective response that should happen from the region, and this collective response, we are hoping for something meaningful that deter Israel from continuing this bullying.
Last question to you. There is a growing narrative in the region that Benjamin Netanyahu is the biggest threat to this region. Do you share that?
Right now, name for me, it's not in the region, name for me any other country in the world that bomb 7 different nations at the same time, bomb ships in the middle of the Mediterranean.
You're talking about the Gaza flotilla, of course. Israel hasn't taken responsibility
without being held accountable. What I mentioned yesterday, what Netanyahu is doing, he is leading his country as a rogue state, and this cannot be acceptable for us in the region. If we are talking about a Middle East, that peaceful Middle East, he's claiming that always that he's the one who is threatened. He's the one who is threatening every other nation. None of our nations has represented a threat for him, nor for his people. So why he claims that he's the man of peace while he's doing the opposite? Does the world believe that? I think we are in a very detrimental moment in this region. This gentleman is claiming that he has a message from God, from somewhere, that he will create a greater Israel, and there is a new Middle East that he is shaping. And this GCC became part of his manipulation today. This is a very dangerous precedent. I don't think it's acceptable for anyone. It's not acceptable for us, nor acceptable for any of the other GCC nations, and it shouldn't be acceptable for the world.
With that, I'm going to leave it there. We thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Thank you.